Hello guys, this is a property that I was assigned that is located in 2951 South Bayshore, Drive, Unit 1111. And this property is located near the Bay Area, and this makes me think that the price will be higher. And it's my understanding that some sellers want to drop the commission because of that. I am looking to list this property, for which I have made a seller CMA. In this part here I show the prospective seller that the final decision to price his or her property will come down to him, and that I will present him our strategy in terms of marketing and servicing to get the maximum value for his property. In this page I will explain all the job we will do from the pre-listing all throughout the process until the final closing. So we are going to focus first on the marketing aspect of the pricing. Now I go to the buyer's profile. In this slide I will show the seller's buyer's profile based on the data that we have available from that particular market. So we can see the income range. So we can see the income range of the potential buyers, as well as data related to the countries those buyers come from. A thermometer that shows us what kind of buyers are more likely to buy from this area. And this map that will help us focus our market strategy to the countries where those potential buyers usually come from. Okay, so we go to the buyer sources. These are the four main channels that we utilize to get the property in front of everybody. And in the internet we will use professional pictures. We will have a specific website for the property. We will adjust the strategy that we got from the buyer's profile information and use that social media options according to that info. Finally, we will list the property in over 1,500 websites. As for the agents and brokers strategy, the strategy therefore will include real estate events, emails and flyers, listing in the MLS, and unbranded materials for the other agents to resend those materials for more effectiveness. Now, as for the next slide, local crowd strategy, we will be targeting first buyers, as well as converting existing tenants that are paying rents that are similar to a mortgage for the seller's property if they choose to buy it. We go to the servicing section, in which we will explain what is Avanti Way and the practices that define as our philosophy is transparency, so that all the parties can see the process and are allowed to collaborate in the transaction. Also, we train our agentpreneurs in the art of negotiating. And finally, we are the fastest growing company in South Florida. And what's more, our systems will let the seller view the information on his property, such as historical showings, also exposure, and track the various activities and milestones during his transaction. It's important to remember that Avanti Way has over 1,000 agents who are driven, knowledgeable, and professional, and that we can also help with questions related to legal matters and on others. Now, as for the pricing, in this part we are going to ask the question to the seller: did you understand the market strategies and service benefits that we bring to the table in order to maximize the value of your property? Then we pause for a second and then proceed to show the seller some materials that will help him understand the pricing of the property. Now we go to the next slide here. The pricing facts. In this triangle we can see how many buyers we can attract depending on how we price a property. This data is pulled from the board of realtors that has historical data on the market that we are in. In this slide we can see the two types of buyers. First, the mature buyer who have been in the market before, and can perceive the value of the properties, and also the new buyers who have limited ability to perceive the value of the properties. In this graph here, we can see that if we don't sell the property within the 3 to 4 weeks after the listing, we will be more exposed to new buyers who are likely to lowball us, and we will have to drop the price. In this map, we can see the information of the comparables, the average days a property was active, the discount rate, and down here, how many days it took to sell the property, so if it was priced correctly, it will be sold quicker. Next, the market data. Here we can see the market data, for example, at what rate the value increase, which in this case is going upwards over time. Next, we have a number of days it was on the market and percentage of discount. We can see here the quarters of the last 2 years, and that the number of days it took for a property to be sold has remained steady, but the discount percentage had many fluctuations and has gone up in the last quarter, probably due to the faulty pricing and more days in the market, which exposes the property to new buyers. In this next graph, we can see the active versus closed properties in the area and absorption rate, which is obtained dividing sold homes over a period of time with the active homes in the market. In this case, it gives us a good absorption rate, which shows us how quickly or slowly houses are selling. And finally, we can see the graph that shows us the units sold and the average price for, per square foot in the area. We can clearly see that it has dropped in the last quarter. We can see the results of the current quarter yet and until June. And is then when we will also see the impact of the quarantine of the sold units during this period. Here are the comparable properties in the area. Here the prospective client can see the many properties within this area and how they are being priced. So maybe he knows a neighbor and wants to compare his property with his neighbors. In this slide, we can see the sold and active properties that are most similar to the clients that we use as metrics to determine the price of his property. Here we show the seller the recommended price based on the analysis of the property. Now, the suggested price could be shocking, and it's important to determine whether the seller is motivated or has the urgency to sell. We can ask them in case they want to object the price. For example, what would happen if we list the property at, say, in this case, 400,000 and we cannot sell the property? Also, it's important not to fight the price, not to take the price approach. Instead, try to understand the urgency of the seller. And here, it's wise to see how to sell the property. We have 3 scenarios. So we can choose a mid-tier price point that might take longer, but is still a good price. Now, as for the commission, it's important to remind the seller that 6% is the national norm, and 5% is the discounted Bay Area norm due to the area sales prices being so high. It's not always good to reduce the commission, since it can detract buyer agents from sending clients to the house due to a lower split commission. Agents are more motivated to push the houses that pay the most commission. And finally, if there are more objections, we can tell the seller that if you are going to choose a realtor that can't even protect his commission and gives you a discounted rate, how am I going to protect the equity in your home when it comes to negotiation? And that's basically the wording that an agent or even us can use when showing the market analysis to a potential seller. Thank you.